This is the U.S. intelligence agency, mind control.
Be louder.
And share it with all of you. U.S. Central Command.
Are you going to cry?
On January 28th, 3 U.S. service members were killed and 25 injured from a one-way attack UAS, that's they're referred to as attack drone, that impacted at a base in northeast Jordan near the Syrian border. As a matter of respect for the families, in accordance with DoD policies, the identities of the service members being withheld here now for the next 24 hours until their next of kin have gone ahead and be identified. President Biden also issued a major statement from the White House that I can hear for all of you. They say, quote, today,
everyone's going to bring this statement up. So watch out for it to skip over it in the future, because all the news coverage will bring this shit up.
Okay.
U.S. service members were killed, many wounded during an unmanned aerial drone attack on our forces stationed in northeast Jordan near the Syrian border. While we are still gathering the facts of this attack, we know it was carried out by, quote, a radical Iran-backed militant group operating in Syria and Iraq.
Shit.
Jill and I joined the families
obvious, right?
Friends of our fallen, the Americans across the country, and grieving the loss. These service members embodied
what's funny
the
is
very
like the
best
takes
of our
I've
nation.
seen online being like them literally like twisting it to say that Biden is literally saying Iran did it. Like, come on, you couldn't get more specific wording right there.
Yeah.
Unwavering in their bravery. So the top line, obviously, is that 3 unfortunate U.S. service members were killed in this attack. Initially, they're not assigning blame to any specific group, but they are claiming it is, quote, a radical Iranian-backed militant group. Interestingly, they are saying they're operating in Syria.
You normally have like the exact group like right away, right?
Yeah, they usually claim it, don't they?
So like because this one is so unusual, not because it killed people, because they have killed they killed one person not that long ago, but I think they died of like a heart attack during the attack. So they say, you never know if they could be distorting that, because I make this joke called the golden zone, right? And you know where the golden zone is. It's where you can bomb Iran and nothing happens after. So that's what we do, is we're going to hit that golden zone. And like some guy I saw on I should pull it up. I'll pull it up after Sagar. But this guy who was like being like, all the other analysts are wrong. I was like, oh, okay. And like a really good open source intelligence source that I follow, because they're really good at like timely posts about Iraq with very good, accurate information. So he even was like, did the down pointing to this guy's take. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
In Iraq, raising the question of this as a multi-pronged attack, whether it was a single group on one side of the border, whether it was a cross-border type of operation. The top line also, in terms of their response, they said that they reserved the right to respond. Quote, we will hold all those responsible to account at a time and in a manner of our choosing, raising questions about what exactly that is going to mean. So in terms of some little bit more of the detail, it's very, very early that this is all happening right now. I'm going to go ahead and share the BBC News here. They say that in general, in terms of quoting, they note a very interesting statistic. They say Jordan has housed U.S. military bases for some time, and it is estimated there are about 3,000 American troops who are typically stationed there. And of course, they also
what do we know about Jordan? What do we know about
2
Jordan?
U.S. Navy SEAL.
What do we know about Jordan? What happens in Jordan?
Lots of arms sales
and
trafficking
and military training, right? So military training, doing a lot of work in Jordan. Obviously, that's where a lot of these U.S. contracts come in, is we actually train like forces all throughout the Middle East, and they like, pick up these contracts and buy the arms there all through the Jordan thing. But also, it depends on how you slice this. Do we know what terrorist group originated in Jordan technically? Can we take a guess? It's one of the big ones.
It was al-qeada, wasn't it?
Nope.
ISIS.
Yes. It depends on how you slice it, but technically ISIS roots are anti-Jordan terrorist group. That's why in the beginning of the Iraq War, right after the mission accomplished speech, when things started going wrong, the first thing that was hit before the UN was the Jordanian embassy. It was like a calling card that this is a Jordanian terrorist group. So Daesh is active and a threat to Jordan. It's all like, and even in Al-Qaeda's management of savagery, which is the principal doctrine for both Al-Qaeda and Daesh, right in there, they say starting a war in Jordan it's mentioned in all their documents, starting a war in Jordan. Collapse it like they did Iraq and Syria. But that's been from the start. And they've never been able to succeed in doing it.
Civilians are presumed dead by the U.S. military after they were missing during an operation off the coast of Somalia. But these are the first American service members actually killed on the ground in a attack like this since the war between Israel and Gaza began more than 100 days ago.
I love that.
Obviously going to be a major,
it's like the first time. It's the first time because like you have to like the window is so narrow. You have to like pick a time when like. The fact that this is even news, you know, the only reason it's news is one, it happened in Jordan, which is rare. They normally don't hit Jordan, and two, because people are paying attention to the Middle East because of the Houthis in Gaza.
Piece of escalation in terms of what the U.S. response will look like with the Iranian groups. They're ascribing blame to Iranian groups. So we don't know yet whether this was directed by Tehran or not, what the U.S. intelligence agencies and all of that are saying. But nonetheless, I think we're going to be hearing about this for quite some time, in the future. It's a very dangerous moment. I don't think it's a surprise this happened in Jordan. It was almost certainly a message because Jordan is very close, to Israel, and it's just it's possible that if Jordan, some sort of justification,
Jordan very close to Israel, like geographically or alliance wise.
I think he might be meaning geography.
You know what else is Syria?
Implying an escalation of war.
Purely speculation on my part. I want to be clear that perhaps they would claim that these military assets were assisting with the Israeli military campaign. I could see something like that as some sort of quote unquote justification. Nonetheless, escalation now between Tehran and Washington is going to go dramatically sky high, and it raises questions as well as to what the overall U.S. military posture is. Don't forget, we have tens of thousands of American troops all across this region. And unfortunately, it was basically a matter of time since this happened. We've had so many attacks on U.S. troops and bases in Iraq and in Syria.
It's only a matter of time before it happened because it fucking happens every Tuesday, bro. It's like, even though it was Jordan, like the thing is he's not showing a map. Move on from this guy. But before we move on from him, I just want to show this tweet with James right here. So like this guy says, like, Kingdom of Jordan, the drone attack happened outside of Jordan's borders. The base was located along the Syrian, Iraqi, and Jordan borders, right? So she's like, okay, so the Jordanian government is absolutely lying here. Clearly trying to minimize domestic blowback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then see, I said, attacking Jordan is a bold move.
Yeah.
They likely had less defenses than the standard targets they hit in Iraq and Syria. Because think about it, they're there for ISIS. They're not there for like the IRGC shit. It's never Jordan's never really been a target for the IRGC.
Why is that?
I mean, why? What does Jordan do for them? They help mediate with Palestine. Like, it would be stupid for them to attack Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fair point.
I mean, everything they do is stupid, but
President Joe Biden has said America will hold those responsible to account after
President Joe Biden
killed and 34 injured.
Her hair pisses me off. What is it with that? It's like a head crab.
Border. The White House says the attack was carried out by a radical Iran-backed militant group operating in Syria and Iraq.
Did they use the word radical?
Statement, the president said, America's heart is heavy. Last night, 3 U.S. service members were killed and many wounded during an unmanned aerial drone attack on our forces stationed in northeast Jordan near the Syria border. While we are still gathering the facts of this attack, we know it was carried out by radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq.
Let's get to the map, bro, because they definitely have a map here.
Yeah.
In this video. Oh, I meant in that video they cut to a map to show it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I was saying we've already seen what Joe Biden had to say. That's all I was saying. Is skip forward.
well, they well of which the
No
United
map.
States is.
Let's see what he's got to say. Nothing? Okay.
Well, this attack happened last night. It's understood the soldiers who were wounded and the 3 of those who were killed were sleeping at the time. It was in an outpost
That makes
near
sense.
the Jordanian-Syrian border. The Americans have had
It also
forces based,
overlooks one of the
around
worst
that area for many
Syrian war refugee camps, like out there.
Oh, great.
Like they're constantly like starving to death and shit. It's
What
like
a great view
it's
to have.
awful camp. I forgot
Yeah,
what it's called. It's like Raffin or something. It
Mm.
starts with an R.
years now, dating back at least until the time when the Syrian civil war was at its height, and American forces, along with others, were fighting against Islamic State cells in Syria. They are the first US service personnel to have been killed since the Hamas attacks on
Here we
October
go.
7th here in Israel. The attack itself, which we understand is yet to be attributed to an exact group, although as the statement you read out from President Biden makes clear, they believe
Sagar, you
it's
should
an
take notes how to
Iranian-backed
actually do
group
the news.
operating
How
out
long
of
was his
Syria.
video? 20 minutes. This is how it's done, bro. This is how
Yo,
easy
it's
it
an
is. How
actual
long was
news
this story?
organization.
3 minutes.
3
That's all you
minutes.
fucking need, man.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
like that's it. That was good reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Sagar, learn how to do it. All right, let's get to maybe some bad reporting.
Bad reporting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Bringing our panel, Holt Communication Strategies, Terry Holt, and Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber, Schreck Policy Director Drew
We
Lipp.
really need
Shrek.
to see a map before we get to this clip, though.
See what?
See a map before we get to this clip. I'm
Uh,
sure Al Jazeera starts and opens with a map.
Yeah, Al Jazeera's got the map. You said
I know their
that.
coverage is long, but I don't. It's like I want to see the map, and then I want to hear whatever their expert has to say because it'll be interesting how they spin it
Yeah.
because they're Al Jazeera.
3 of its soldiers have been killed and
Could be
30
louder.
have been injured in a drone attack on an American base in Jordan. There are around
That's nice.
2,900 American military personnel stationed in
Could be
Jordan
louder.
as part of 22 deployed there to support Jordan's operations against ISIL. We're going to cross to Alan Fisher. What more do we know about what's been going on, Alan?
Got to see an exact place.
Joe
where this
Biden is on the campaign
zone is.
trails in South Carolina. He's been speaking in the last hour in a church in South Carolina, but he didn't mention this. He was briefed first thing on Sunday morning about what
You don't
happened
actually
on
zoom
Friday
in
night
on a map to
in
show you where
Jordan,
it
very
happened on
close
this
to
one either.
northeast Syria. They then issued a paper statement from the White House, and Joe Biden says that he and his wife are upset to hear the news of the death of 3 servicemen, that a number of other servicemen had been injured. He also adds, these service members embodied the very best.
Jump there.
It would appear from during the fight against ISIL, they haven't gone away.
This one, the retired colonel.
The oil fields there.
This is the best option to respond to the killing of U.S. troops. It's a CNN clip. That one, it definitely shows a map where the exact strike happens.
Which one? What's it called?
CNN, retired colonel. I'll send it again for you.
Yep. No, I got it. Wait, we'll watch that map anyway. This one.
Fucking Beatles.
Oh, wrong one.
They are not there at the invitation of the Syrian government, a government which is recognized by a number of other governments around the world. We're also being told that 25 servicemen, all army, were injured in the attack, which also killed the 3. So details will begin to become more and more obvious in the next few hours, but certainly it would appear from what the Jordanians are saying that the United States believing that this happened on Jordanian soil is being rejected by the Jordanian government itself and saying,
we can go to Colin.
Okay, so
It's, who owns it then, Jordan? Can you imagine like Israel doing this, being like, "Wasn't on our soil. That belongs to Palestine."
It would be pretty funny, wouldn't it?
Wild. This is the colonel. Yeah, let's hear what this colonel has to say. They'll definitely show a map here.
The U.S. is working to identify exactly which militia group carried out a deadly
Look
drone
at that. Hang on. Pause. Pause. I mean, because we're covering it right now. That's the golden zone, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this. I like to me.
Yeah,
this
right.
Doesn't even
Yeah.
count.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly where everything happens.
Like, come on. I think that's honestly, I think it's fair game. I mean, the U.S. established the rules that strikes can happen without consequences in this area from both sides.
Yep.
And now the U.S. is
going
to. I mean, just because it's in Jordan, they're going to fucking cry about it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
it's like
they just need to cop it.
now, what's funny? I pulled it up on this, so I want to show you the guy I was talking about, where I was like, "Wow, this guy does not know what he's talking about." So. I don't know who this guy is, but wait until you hear this take.
Hey, I keep hearing these analysts say that Iran is baiting us into a war. Iran's not trying to bait us into a war. They're using their proxies.
See, like I'm like, okay, this is good. The Goldilocks zone, exactly. Like the especially in like Deir ez-Zor and like Al Anbar province, like the border between like those regions in Iraq and Syria, they bomb them once a week. Well, somebody gets hit there like once a week. Attacks get launched from there. Like convoys will get hit because they're supplying, because it's Iran's main like supply route and stuff. Like nothing ever happens there. Anyway, this guy I was like, yeah, they're not dragging us into a war. You're right. I was like, okay, he's starting off good.
Where's the turn?
Concessions from the Biden administration, except today
they're trying to get concessions from the Biden administration for what?
Okay.
What concessions are they getting for what?
I'm curious as well.
He doesn't
It's
say.
very strange. Seriously?
No.
Oh my god.
What concessions?
What a tosser.
fucked up. They
What
killed
a
3
right
Americans
They did fuck up. Yep.
and injured 25. There are designated terrorist groups. There are designated terrorist leaders. DOD, the Department of Defense, the
Sanctions. Are they going to remove sanctions? Like, what leverage? What leverage is Iran gaining by fucking hitting U.S. targets?
Yeah, exactly. If anything, it'll make more sanctions.
They hit us literally every week. They send missiles, and like the last big one that everyone was reporting on were like Iran strikes back. It wasn't even striking U.S. targets.
What was it striking?
It killed like Kurdish civilians in Iraq and Syria. Their attacks, because like it's another component, is like Iran wants the oil that's in the Kurdish region of Iraq.
Yeah.
Pentagon needs to hit Iranian targets inside of Iraq.
Whoa!
They do.
What? No, they don't. They do not. No.
Well, they hit Iran.
We don't hit targets inside Iran openly.
Right.
You know that? No. We are not sending missiles into Iran. That is not how this works, bro.
Inside of Syria and inside of Iran. This does not require deploying troops to the region. All this requires are precision strikes, cruise missile strikes.
Not inside Iran. Yeah, let's send cruise missiles that Iran can then take the wreckage from.
Strikes against designated terrorists. This bullshit I'm hearing from analysts in D.C. about we need to make sure this goes to Congress so we can warn Iran that we're going to do an attack 90 days from now. No, they killed Americans. They crossed the red line. And anyone who knows Iran knows that if you hit them, they stop.
Knows.
What an idiot, bro. What a fucking... We literally bombed them 2 days ago. We hit them in the Golden Zone 2 days ago, and it killed like a high-ranking... It was Iraqi Hezbollah, Kataib Hezbollah. That's who they hit.
No shit.
Iraq. Yeah. So they killed like a big commander in Iraqi Hezbollah.
Epic.
Just like when we killed Qasem Soleimani, they stopped.
Isn't that funny? When we killed Qasem Soleimani, they stopped. What are you talking about? They responded with rocket attacks en masse on bases. They only stopped because they shot down a civilian airliner and they had massive protests. So they had to deal with domestic issues. Bro, this guy is like the analyst in DC. Don't know what you're talking about. This is how you have to deal with Iran.
When Reagan destroyed half of their navy, they stopped. Ismail Khani, Qasem Soleimani's replacement, is a target. Abu Fadak, the leader of Kataib Hezbollah, is a target. The United States could do very simple things here. This is not hard. This does not require troops being deployed. It simply requires resolve.
Resolve. Okay, bro.
What a fool.
What a wanker. What a tosser.
That killed 3 U.S. troops and injured more than 30 others. This happening near the border with Syria and Iraq. And joining me now to talk about this, CNN military analyst and retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Cedric Leighton and former Middle East negotiator for the State Department, Aaron David Miller. Colonel,
what years?
You first, your reaction to this deadly.
Some old fucks make sure their hearing aids are on.
His name's David Miller, negotiator. Okay, we need to know what years. So keep going. I'll look it up.
The attack on U.S. troops. There have been these moments that we've seen over the last several weeks where these Iran-backed militias have been wreaking havoc, have been a nuisance to U.S. forces in the region. But obviously, this time it's much more serious and it may bring about a U.S. response.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it certainly will, Jim.
You ready to hear Aaron David Miller, who's the guy on the right? You ready to hear what years he did the fucking negotiator for the fucking served 6 secretaries of state as an Arab-Israeli negotiator. Brokered agreements between Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Palestinians. Nothing about Iran. What years do you think this guy worked for the State Department?
Reagan years.
Before the Iraq War. He literally left in 2003 before the Iraq War.
Wow.
Not fucking relevant. Like if you're out in 2003, like, bro, come on. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's a completely different climate. Like, come on. And like after that, he went on to be a fucking think tanker. Anyway.
Of course.
Again, this is a really serious escalation
Brutally.
at this point, and what it
Brutally
has
serious,
done because
guys.
of the deaths of at least 3 American service members and the injuries of 30
Whoa,
more.
did they get widow Confessi Wussies?
Soldiers.
I'm the expert, believe me.
We're the only experts, okay?
And the
Only
group
us.
that did this, whichever one it was,
Yeah,
is
like Jacinda
clearly-
Ardern, the only good reliable source
Yes,
of news is
this
us.
is so
We
correct.
need that
Literally,
soundbite,
they've been
actually.
playing chicken and getting lucky. There's no strategy. 100% correct.
asking for a response from the U.S. and what that, of course, means, it remains to be seen. But one of the key suspects here is probably Kataib Hezbollah, the group in Iraq that is an main Iranian proxy there.
Because we just took out a big leader. Say that.
It could be one of the other Iranian proxies, but it clearly points to a possible escalation in that direction.
And before I go to Aaron, Colonel, just a quick follow-up. Can you tell us more about this outpost known as Tower 22 in Jordan and the military installations that are located in that general area? This sounds a bit of a remote outpost, and I wonder if it raises the question about security at some of these installations where U.S. forces may be vulnerable to this sort of thing.
Yeah, it certainly does raise a lot of security questions. And of course, force protection, as we call security in the military, is a key and dominant mission requirement for U.S. forces there. But this base, Tower 22, is right near the base of al-Tanf, which is in Syria. So it's Tower 22 is right on the Jordan-Syria border, but it's also close to what they call the tri-point, where 3 countries come together, in this case, Syria, Iraq, and Jordan. And because of that, it's in a unique position where it can oversee a lot of the smuggling routes that have been there for thousands of years.
And what happens?
Between all of the different areas.
Do they facilitate
Syria,
it?
Jordan, and Iraq. And it is at a very strategic location.
How did Saddam get his weapons
of,
again?
Supplies to al-Tanf, which is the primary base that is in this part of Syria.
I wonder.
That has been used against
Couldn't possibly be Jordan.
ISIS forces that we fought against over the last few years.
Everyone is pointing.
And Aaron, President Biden has been briefed.
But officially, it doesn't look like anyone has actually said it. So anyone who's reporting that that's who it was, I'm not sure. You can say that. But Jan 23rd, airstrikes conducted against them. Here's the CENTCOM order.
He's released.
This is the targeted strikes were the headquarters, storage and training locations for rocket, missile, and one-way attack drones, which was what they just got hit with, is one-way attack drones. And then We have a little bit of footage from that attack. So it's like, this is like, I'm not sure what strike this was, but this is some facility. They're like going through the rubble. Didn't even confirm if we killed people with these strikes. So I thought they said they did. Oh, there have been 2 confirmed kills. And I think one of them was
3.
No, for the strike we did days ago.
Okay.
It's a statement vowing to hold those responsible accountable. We're already seeing calls from Republican lawmakers for a strike inside Iran. As a matter of fact, we talked to Congressman Adam Smith at the top of the hour, and he said that perhaps some sites in Iran should be considered for some sort of proportionate response. What might that do to the situation that obviously has been simmering with a lot of tensions over the last several weeks? I mean, obviously things could get way more escalated if something like that happens.
You know, whether we're on the cusp, and thanks for having me, Jim. It's great to be here, Colonel Layton. Whether we're on the cusp of a regional war or not, I don't know. We're almost 5 months in. February 7th will be the 5th month of this war, and you're looking at controlled escalation to a large degree across the Israeli-Lebanese border, and even these attacks against American bases and troops in Iraq and Syria. I think the administration on this one has options that run from bad to worse. And I think there are only 2 options. They're going to respond. The question is, are they going to respond against Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps actual forces in Iraq and or Syria? Or, as Adam Smith suggested, are they going to risk something that this administration and none of its predecessors have done? And that is to strike Iranian assets in Iran proper.
Okay, first of all, we do that. We do that. It's just not talked about, okay? It just also doesn't happen.
Self-proclaimed red line. Whether or not that proves to be the case, we may actually begin to find out. The other option, of course, is to strike fast boats and Iranian naval assets in the Gulf. But the administration, understandably, given the regional hotspots that the Israeli-Hamas war has generated, has a certain amount of risk aversion in their own responses. I mean, they've responded actually to 160, 170 attacks since October. Maybe a tenth of those we've responded to. I think on this one, however, you're going to see some fireworks, and I think I still think this is not going to trip the U.S. and Iran into a major conflict.
You see, he says it's not going to trip into a major conflict. All right, let's get to this fear-mongering. Fox News time. Let's see what they have to say.
So it's political season, but then world events have stepped in here. Your response to the news of the day: 3 Americans killed in a drone attack.
A tragic loss for the country, a situation
I love these people.
We knew would probably
happen. None of these people speak. Look, so the guy introduced him couldn't talk. This guy can't talk.
Looks like he's about to cry.
Knife edge in the Middle East.
Oh, come on.
It's up to our leaders in this country to come together and to pass some sort of bipartisan war authorization so that this president can have all the tools at his disposal to fight off this Iran attack.
Now,
what a psycho.
Fox News is now calling for the unity that Joe Biden keeps talking about, how he's going to bring the parties together. Now they're talking about we need to get behind this president, Joe Biden. It's because of that border shit that he just passed. Did you see how fucking bad it was?
No, I didn't see the result.
Okay, so one of the worst, because you remember when we were watching Newsmax and Fox News, one of the things that they were saying, mask off, is that what's coming, the powers that will be passed, right, are going to empower the next admin, not Joe Biden, right?
Okay.
They said that. So one of the things, the worst part of this bill that Joe Biden signed through because of the limbo shit that Trump pulled in Congress, it gives Joe Biden the power to shut down the border if it's overwhelmed, declare emergency, and completely shut down the border. It gives the president, right? So Joe
Yeah.
Biden's not going to do that because it's record low. We're working with
Yeah.
Mexico to stop it. But Trump,
So why would he exactly?
Trump, oh, he'll use
Trump
it
won't
to his
win.
advantage.
Trump will be
He'll
in jail.
constantly try to be leveraging over a woman who's going to be the president of Mexico next if he's there, right? So he'll constantly doing this border shutdown leverage shit, not working with Mexico.
Yeah.
Have been like, how stupid can you be? Because this is the guy who wanted to pull out of NATO as well. Like, how do you not realize that you want to be making like an AUKUS type
Yeah.
with Mexico, Canada, and America, and you want Mexico to be strong as fuck with us?
Yep.
And they also
You want them to be as strong as possible.
because we don't accept immigration from like Cuba, Nicaragua, and then some other country. I'm not sure which one. Definitely those two, right? We don't even accept. Oh, Haiti.
Yeah.
So we don't even. If you are seen as being one of those people, they don't even process you. It's just closed.
It's straight turn you away.
Able to claim asylum, but like work permits and that type of shit, do not come. You know. So like Mexico is also was like part of the deal that they were trying to pass through Congress. Mexico would also step up handling those cases, so they would become some place where these people could go for asylum. So we don't because we don't want any of those people in our country, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
Drew, your thoughts?
Well, I think we do need a new authorization for the use of military force, AUMF. Senator Kane, as you mentioned, talks about this frequently. This is a moment when you can have Democrats and Republicans working together. I don't know why there would be any partisan difference. Members of Congress tend to feel strongly about their prerogatives. It would be ideal if before there are further hostilities, before more American lives are risked, we had that kind of consensus which the entire country can observe.
Psycho.
Is this a situation where the commander-in-chief should address the nation from the Oval Office?
No.
It is if we're getting ready to go to war with Iran.
We're not.
If they're going to present a policy.
Who the fuck do these people think they are? Seriously, what a fucking tosser.
Isn't it wild?
For attacking the Iranian back.
Like, are they just setting up to be like Joe Biden didn't go to war? He hates American soldiers. Or are they being dead serious that they think that like this is a bipart? Because like, did you see Tucker Carlson? His tweet. Okay, I'll pull that up real quick too. I just got to share this. It's so funny. Yeah, Tucker Carlson basically told like Lindsey Graham to shut the fuck up or something.
That's funny. Rare Tucker W?
I guess so. Yeah, I sent it in like chat, so
Places of interest, then maybe not. But if the president is going to attack the mainland of Iran, I would think he want to talk to the nation, and he would want to rally Republican support around that kind of a decision.
He's not.
Drew, what about that?
Well, I think that would be highly useful. I think it's also important that the president help people understand this started with the Hamas attack in Israel on October 7th.
Noble gold investment.
Weren't these guys isolationists? Yeah.
Now they're warmongers, apparently.
So if this is fake, then it might. Like, I haven't verified that Tucker Carlson actually said this. I just saw it and sent the picture, but like, fucking hilarious.
That is very funny.
This is the latest stage. This was an attack not on soldiers in the battlefield. It was an attack on living quarters on a base.
Oh my God!
No!
This is more like terrorism than war. People need to understand that these things are connected, and that's what we're responding to.
Let's put on the screen a tweet from Speaker Mike Johnson. I'll get you guys to react to it.
Here we go.
He says, quote, "We are saddened by the loss of 3 American heroes in Jordan last night, and we are praying for their families and for the 25 other service members who have been injured. America must send a crystal clear message across the globe that attacks on our troops will not be tolerated."
Whoa.
Terry, how do you respond to that?
I think that is a conditioned response that he would.
It will cause a lot of attacks on our troops.
The troops in the
war
that are in harm's way, and he's also signaling that it's time to widen the conversation about what needs to be done in this war. That it's not just whack-a-mole with a few Houthis here and a few Iran-backed militias there. That we have a broader problem on our hands, and that the president needs to use all of his authority and all of his powers, including under the War Powers Act,
the United States
to go
of America,
ahead and fight this battle as rigorously as he net. I think that Speaker Johnson is giving.
Now we're reporting on all these attacks. Okay, now we care about all these attacks that have happened. Okay. Okay.
Biden a green light to go as far as he needs to go.
Congressman Mike Collins of Georgia asking the question, are we at war?
Epic tweet from Lena here. Fun fact, when we start war with Iran, the first explosion will be heard all around the world. Won't actually be a bomb. It'll be John Bolton spontaneously coming so hard his little like gigantic heart just implodes. And so this is like, so right here, Tower 22, it says this is the camp, Rukban. Remember I said it's like R something, right?
Yeah.
So Lena was like, it's the one near that refugee camp with all the malnourished babies that's been besieged for literally half a decade and refusing help despite being incredibly not costly in any domestic way.
At the moment, no. Potentially tomorrow or the next day, sure, that's possible. Things with Iran could be coming to a head. But one other thing I'd add is we have an ally in Israel. We have an ally in Jordan. We need to consult with them also because it's their homeland that's going to be attacked if we go to war.
Come on,
and this
bro.
needs to be done in a coordinated way. It's not just a matter of...
That's legal. That's legal, right?
Yep.
It's like Bin Laden 100%. Said. It's like Bin Laden said. Like, what was the... I'm trying to think of the quote exactly.
Quoting Bin Laden, going to get striked.
It's something like rules of engagement. We're simply taking your methods and visiting them back upon you.
Ah, that one. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
that's what all the tweens were getting crazy about.
We defined this. Oh no. That was his letter. No, he said this on so when he
wasn't that part of it though?
No, this is an interview he does. So an interview with like CNN or something. They talk to him in the cave. He's got like the AK behind him, right? And he's like, you kill like civilians though. And he's like, did civilians not die in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? We are simply taking your rules of engagement and visiting them back upon you.
The good response.
And this was like way before. This is when he declared jihad in America before he did any attacks against us. And they were like going to laugh at him because he's a strange wizard man in the cave saying he's going to declare war in America. So they're like going there to mock him.
And then he owns them. Love it.
Pushing a button.
Would you expect that we see the Secretary of State flying out to the region once again?
Well, he's been there plenty. It's time to go back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's time
like we've established the relationship with Iran on what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah.
These guys, how do we know? How do we know that Kataib Hezbollah knew this was inside Jordanian territory?
True.
They probably did. They're not stupid, but like it's close enough to the golden zone that I think it's fair game. 3 kills.
Yep. 3 kills.
Talked about here today to rally the troops and figure out how we're going to meet this threat because it's not going to go away. 159
We're going to use strike eagles.
There's no reason why there won't be 150.
We're going to use tomahawks and some strike eagles and some hellfires.
I think Hillary Clinton has an opinion.
My resolution: airstrikes. Bomb them.
Who is it?
Bomb them.
It sounds like Hillary.
It's the crazy lady on Fox News.
That's even better because it's Fox News. Sounds like Hillary.
Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again.
That's about
exactly.
59 more attacks. So it's time to get a unified
and again, like that other guy said,
effort under
with all those attacks. We've responded to a 10th, maybe.
Yeah.
Way to deal with the Iranians and what they pose in the region.
What about Tony Blinken's role?
You mean their region?
Secretary Blinken is respected around the.
Sorry? The other guy was like a negotiator that I laughed at because he left at 2003. What are these guys' credentials here? fascist number 1 and fascist number 2.
Terry Holt and Drew Littman, I think. Yeah, let's go with that.
Doesn't say what they do.
Political strategist and communication strategist.
Think tanks.
Yeah.
Think tanky people. Doesn't sound like they're qualified.
Very, very.
No. And this is done. Next video.
Isn't that wild? Totally happening.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?